headlines to the CBC NewsNight. The introduction of parole system coming to allow the conditional early release of inmates. Christchurch wins the big prize at the Spirit of the Nation Parish Independence Awards talent competition.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC Newsnight. I'm Wendy Burke. Government is working out plans to introduce parole to the local justice system. Minister of Home Affairs Wilfred Abrams says it will allow for provisional release of inmates. He expects it to come on stream in short order. Anesta Henry has that story.
Minister Wilfred Abrams says the introduction of a parole system remains a front-burner issue. He was addressing the media following the Barbados Prison Service annual church service. Minister Abrams says government is actively looking at the legislation that will govern parole.
I can't tell you exactly when we're going to do it because I don't want to make myself a liar, but I can tell you that it's a front-burner issue that is actively being worked on as we speak. And the fact that we actually had a Caribbean conference on parole in Barbados within the last 28 days should tell you everything that you need to know. We're pushing full steam ahead with this one.
He says the parole system will allow for the early release of those who qualify to spend part of their sentence outside of the prison setting.
It will incentivize people. We don't have a problem with overcrowding at the moment, but equally I don't believe anybody should be there who does not need to be there. So it is simply going with the philosophy of this government. We don't want to punish people. We want to help people to realize their best selves. That's why, for example, a lot of offenses have been moved from criminal offenses to ticketing offenses with civil penalties.
The minister adds that in the upcoming year, there will be a continued focus on increasing the staff count at the St. Philip-based correctional facility.
We're now up to a reasonable staff count. Right? We still need a couple more so we can do another recruiting early next year. But the current staff count with the new recruits that just came on, the new prison officers that just came on, has allowed us to get back to the shift system that we want. We were having extended shifts, and that was causing some issues. Morale-wise, it was causing issues logistically. So we're back now that we can manage the proper shift system that we expect at the prison.
Minister Abrams says several other measures are being put in place to allow for more opportunities for staff and inmates. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
The Ministry of Education is exploring other examination bodies outside of the CXC and CVQ to recognize children who are not considered to be strong in academia. This is the word from Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw. She was speaking at a panel discussion put on by the Barbados Accreditation Council named Towards a National Qualifications Framework, Reimagining Higher Education in the Barbados Economy. Dr. Archer-Bradshaw pointed out that while many children do well at the CXC level, there should be a focus on recognizing students in other ways.
We have several children who do well at the CXCs, but what we have to look at in terms of moving the education system forward is not only to focus on the academia, but to recognize students in other areas as well. So we are exploring other examination, assessment type, competency-based bodies in addition to CVQs that would recognize those children who do not have the, what we call the academic, I don't even like calling that word, but who don't really have that kind of background in terms of the theories, but they can demonstrate their skills in certain areas.
Women in the Bridgetown Fishing Complex painted the facility pink in observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And they're all encouraging both men and women to get their breasts checked. Coordinator Rhonda Wilshire Hall says this is the second time they have supported the cause.
We have had a lot of setbacks and due to the Hurricane Beryl, but we have to give God thanks for life and health and strength. And today we would just like to thank the Barbados Cancer Society for allowing us to be a part of this gesture. But during these difficult times, we still need to be mindful of our bodies and to see what's going on. So I just want to say thank you and thank everyone for participating.
Fish vendor Sylvia Small says it is important for her to get her breast checked annually.
I have some friends that right now suffer with cancer, and to hear them speak about it, it is very heartbreaking because it isn't easy living each and every day and don't know what's going on within your body, and that's a very serious thing. So we don't even have to wait till this day come that you can do. You should try to get it do when it is necessary every year, I assume. Every year, and make sure that everything is well within our bodies.
Similarly, Judy Sobers says having gone through the experience with a family member, she's not taking any chances.
My mom, she lose one of her breasts to it, but I'm not frightened. Once you get checked, the decision or your next move is up to you, but I guess some people just wait to see what's going to happen after chemotherapy and things like that there, but then if you see the improvement and you get one removed, you live longer.
The talent competition for the Spirit of the Nation Parish Independence Awards were decided last night at the Frank Collamer Hall. The various parishes sent forward their semi-finalists to a well-attended event which included several members of Parliament. While the entertainment varied from dance to song to instrumental, there could only be so many winners. There were two special prizes, Most Impactful, which went to Lord School Steel Orchestra for St. John, and Most Original to Ramon Blackman for St. Michael. The Spirit of the Nation prize third place went to St. Michael's Glen Reese and second to Josiah Moore of St. Lucie, with Christ Church taking the big prize with King K and Kimberly Allen. Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment Charles Griffith presented the award. Coming up, a call for Barbados to send a stronger signal to Israel about its war in Gaza. Calls from the Caribbean Against Apartheid in Palestine group once again for Barbados to sever ties with Israel. The group gathered at Travers Way over the weekend to show their disapproval of the war in Gaza. The group was at Travers Way and they were supporting the plight of the Palestinians. A picket for Palestine had a small group of people on hand who came out with their signs to demonstrate their disapproval of Israel's military action. Treasurer of the organization, Suleiman Bulbulia, stated that he is pleased that the government has formed diplomatic relations with Palestine, but he believes it needs to take it a step further.
We have had letters have gone back and forth with the government of Barbados. As I said, we are very happy that they had chose earlier this year to establish in April, to establish relationships with the state of Palestine. They were one of the few CARICOM countries left to do so, and they have done so. And right after them followed Trinidad, Jamaica, and Bahamas. And we are pleased for that. We want to go now the next step in normalizing those relationships, strengthening those relationships, have the Palestinian ambassador come to present her credentials. That needs to be done, and move forward with that. But we are also saying that at this time we need to suspend our several relationships with the state of Israel because of what they're doing.
Meanwhile, Secretary of the organization, Lalu Hanuman, has called for more information to be shared in schools about what is happening in Gaza.
It's to do with the lack of information. I went and met a number of school children at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center, and most of them didn't even know where Palestine was. They were telling me Palestine is in the Caribbean. In fact, I'm a little surprised at this. They didn't even know what apartheid was. They didn't know who Nelson Mandela was. Only very few of them knew. Our education system in Barbados needs to improve. But it's a slow process, but we are hopefully getting there.
Coming up, the weekend sports.
Good evening with sports. I'm Anne-Marie Burke. Openers Brandon King and Evan Lewis scored half centuries and shared a 107-run stand to guide the West Indies to a 5-wicket win over Sri Lanka in the first of their 3 T20 matches. King smashed a 6 and 11 fours in his innings of 63 off 33 deliveries, while Lewis hit 4 sixes and 5 fours for his 28-ball 50. Earlier, winning the toss and choosing to field in Dambulla, Sri Lanka scored 179 for 7 in their 20 overs as Romario Shepherd took 2 for 39. Captain Chiraf Asalanka with 59 and Kamidu Mendes with 51 led Sri Lanka's batting. In reply, West Indies reached 180-5 with 5 deliveries remaining to take an early lead in the series. The second match will be played at the same venue on Tuesday. Now, the 2 qualifiers from Group B of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup will be determined in Tuesday's final preliminary match between the West Indies and England. This after England women defeated Scotland women this morning to move top of the group. Scotland opted to bat first but only posted 109 for 6. England women replied with 113 without loss from 10 overs to win by 10 wickets. Player of the match, Maya Bochier, top scored with 62. England and South Africa women are both on 6 points, but England have the higher net run rate. West Indies women are third on 4, but a win on Tuesday will leave all 3 teams tied, and the top 2 will be determined by net run rate. Meanwhile, in Group A, 1 semi-finalist is known, Australia women. They defeated India women today to move to an unassailable 8 points. Scores: Australia women 151 for 8, India women 152 for 9. The second semi-finalist from this group will be determined tomorrow. Now, if New Zealand women defeat Pakistan women, they'll break a 4-point tie with India and advance. However, if they lose, then it'll come down to the net run rate. That final group game will be live on MCTV's ESPN channel 308 from 10 a.m. And bringing it back home, Wildy secured an innings and 122 runs over. That should be 122 runs win over ESAFU Pickwick on today's final day of Series 5 of the BCA Elite Division 3-day competition. Playing at the Jeffrey Yard Complex, Wildy scored 300 for 6 in their first innings in response to ESAFU Pickwick 61, with Neymar Bolden getting 119. And Pickwick in their second innings were held to 117 as the England cricketer Barbadian-born Jofa Archer snapped up 6 for 25. In the other matches at Bank Hall, Spartan and Empire played to a draw. Scores: Spartan 26 and 1 without loss, Empire 2-25. At Friendship, UWI 258 and 314 for 5 declared, Yorkshire 305 and 72 for 1 for a draw. There's also a draw at Cane Garden between BCA Youth and Gladiola. Scores: Youth 217 and 203, Gladiola 253 for 9 and 99 for 5. And at Beccles Road, YMPC 280 for 7 and 105, Wanderers 283 for 6 and 31 for 3 to also end in a draw. Well, that's it for sports. Up next is the weather with Carrie-Ann O'Neill.
Good evening and welcome to the weather news. Well, a tropical wave is impacting the island. As a result, we had partly cloudy to cloudy skies, showers and thunderstorms here in Barbados. There is a flash flood watch in effect for the island, and the winds generally across the region, they're light to moderate, although we have been experiencing some gusty winds here in Barbados up to 35 knots. The maximum temperature today was 31 degrees Celsius, the minimum 26 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 28 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity, 83%. Those winds are coming in from the southeast. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where we do have a tropical wave located at 35 degrees west. It is moving towards the west and will continue to track that system. Today, a tropical wave now located at just around 62 degrees west maintained partly cloudy to cloudy skies, showers and thunderstorms here in Barbados. We had up to 20.4 millimeters of rainfall. Meanwhile, those winds, they are light to moderate across the region. For us here in Barbados, we had some gusty winds up to 35 knots. The seas, they are smooth. That's moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters, and we're urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Now later on tonight, we are expecting partly cloudy to cloudy skies along with showers and a medium chance of some isolated thunderstorms. Further south, fair to partly cloudy skies prevailed across the Guianas. Over now in the Western Caribbean, there is a trough system there maintaining very wet conditions across sections of the Bahamas. Elsewhere, they had localized afternoon showers. That's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast. in the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:48 and will set at 5:40. The first high tide, that's expected at 25 minutes to 1 in the early morning. The first low at 13 minutes past 7 in the morning. Those seas, they are moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. The winds, they're coming in from the east-southeast to the east, and they're peaking at 35 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, the tropical wave will continue to impact us. We are expecting partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy skies, showers, and a medium chance of some isolated thunderstorms. Over the next 3 days, partly cloudy skies along with afternoon localized showers can be expected.
That's our news. Thank you for joining us. Continue to enjoy your evening.